Right guys, I've got the bed off, obviously. I'm on the bench and I'll just show you what I've done so far. So, there's the thermistor. I've checked it, multimeter checked it. It's given us about 150 k ohms resistance. Whether I measured from the pins or there, it's the same. So there's not like a difference between the solder joints and the copper strips. So it's 150 ohms. I don't think it's damaged. I think it's just, the problem with that is just these here, which you can see is slightly charred. The pins look okay, but obviously there's heat being getting through this negative side, so that's what's giving me the problem. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to change that. I'm going to get rid of these pins, as you can see. I'm going to get rid of this plastic and I'm going to solder directly onto them. I'm going to bridge these negatives and the positives together with solder and just have these as one. So one positive, a negative, and the thermistor lines there. And then while I'm doing this, because I've been putting this off for a while, I'm going to, if I can find it, wherever I put it, I'll put it down somewhere. Where the hell has that gone to? Right. Shocking. Okay. Give us a second, I've lost something. That's gone missing. Anyway, give us a second, I'll be back shortly. Okay, what I've done is I've got myself one of these silicone mats for soldering, same as this type of thing. It's like in the kitchen. Got this from Banggood. It's just a piece of silicone really. I've got a hole in the middle. How I've done that is I just put it over the top where I want it to be, put a black mark circle on, and then I just went sideways and just trimmed, got in there with the side cutters and cut around. Dead simple. It was a bit long. I'll just put that on, and that's where it's going to be. I've left it a bit shorter because I want to put some silver tape on. It was a bit long, so I've cut that bit off just with a knife. Exacto knife, cut that off, done. So what I'm going to do now, I've left the air gap so it doesn't get, and this is quite sticky to there as well. See how it's sticking? Which is quite nice. Just put that on there. It doesn't have to be 100%. As long as it's somewhere near. In fact, I'm going to take that off. I want it to be half decent. So I'm using them black lines around the edge. That's good enough. Oh no, it's a bit close to there. Yeah, I've made the hole a little bit. So that's where the sensor is, about there. So I'm going to have to go about there. Don't matter. Go about there. I'm going to put some silver tape on. Yeah, some silver tape around there to hold it. And then I'm going to pull this plug off. Or I've cut it anyway. I've already started. Let's have a look. Okay, I'm just going to cut the bottom off. If you can see that okay. Just working my way through. I'm not cutting the pins off, I'm just cutting the plug off, as you can see. So I'll do that, take the pin off, and then I'm going to have to take it back. I'll tin it up, take it back to the printer, do the same with the wires, tin them up, and I want to add the wires. And I have to do that on the printer because I've got the chain guard on and I can't take the cable off, which is a bit of a pain. But got to do it over there, so that'll take us a while to set it up because the printer's on the inside of the room. Right, back shortly. Okay, I just thought I'd show you how I'm putting the silver tape on. So I've recut that one, cut it in half because it was a bit wide. I was going to go all the way across, but to be honest I don't think I'm going to need it, so I'm just going to show you this bit in case anyone's interested. I've never seen this before, but here's my silver tape. Get to the edge, level it up the best you can, do it the other way, otherwise it's a bit better. Straighter cut. Doesn't really make any difference really, it's only as to what it looks like. Straighten the edge, it all flattens down, a nice edge. This sticks like unbelievably good. And then just roll it over That's it. Just press it all down. That's going nowhere. And if it sags, I don't think it will sag, but I think that's all you need. There's no way that's going to sag. And that's going to give me, reflect quite a bit of heat, because you know silicone, that should just warm with a touch instead of hot. Left the air gap there. I didn't want to go right to the edges because I wanted to, and if this doesn't work I want to be able to take it off, so I'll leave it like this and see what happens. If there's a problem, I'll go across with all of it like that, but I'm not going to. Only do things what you have to do, so that's going to stick to that really well. I've tried some of this before. I stuck a piece in the corner and used it for a couple of weeks and it didn't want to come off after it heated up. So whether it sticks to the silicone or not is a different matter. Now if the silicone goes funny and it does sag, I'll put it right across, not a problem. So that's where we're at now. Next stage, I'm going to pull this off and I'll be back shortly when I do that. Spare you the agony of watching me do that. Good guys, bit of a change of plan. I've decided to leave this plastic plug part on. I've cut, you can't see it there, but I've cut the bottom bit off what came down here, the bit what clipped on, and I thought this plastic bit is actually holding these in quite nice. I didn't want to risk damaging these traces, so what I've decided to do is just bridge the plus and the minus. So I put extra solder on, because there's a gap there. I just tinned a bit of copper, hold that in place like that, solder that on, and that's the one I've just cut off, and then just cut it off once it's in place. Once I've built it, I've tinned the wires on the printer, it's only a matter of coming across and just doing that. Hopefully that won't fall out. If it does, it does. But that's what I'm going to. You could also bend. You could bend these in. I mean that's an option, to bend them in like that, just a bit tighter. You could do that, and then just put more solder on, or a bit of copper in if you wanted to. Although the wire itself will go in there. I'll probably just do it that way. But anyway, that's what I've done. So the next bit is going to be over to the printer, and we'll get that started. Okay, guys, at the printer, I'm just going to take this cable tray off so I can work with this cable easier, so it's not attached to the bed. So I'm going to whip this off quick as I can. Another point I've just noticed is I'm going to replace this bed eventually. I've seen on eBay some replacement ones where these are just strips, one piece of plate, a bit thicker. Stop the flex, because when you screw the bed up you get flex there. See how that's pulling down. I've managed to minimise that by having hardly any spring tension on, just enough to hold the bed on so it doesn't move this way. I've managed to get away with it, so we can pull this through a little bit more. And this is what we're going to do. So what I'm going to do next then, I'm going to get this plug off, pop. You can actually see, look at that. Hopefully that comes up on camera. Burnt mark, heat. Oh yes. Didn't look so bad earlier on when I seen it, and even there. So this is on the negative, return, quite a bit of scorching, even on the positive as well, a little bit there. So that's going to come off definitely. What more? Put that out the road. Don't really need that now, and we'll get this done and I'll come back shortly. Right guys, all back. As you can see, this is the first print. I'm just doing a calibration square. I'm just leveling the bed up and everything. This is the first print. It all looks good. The temperatures using one of these says 60 to 61 on the bed, and then when I measure it, 60.6. That's good enough for me. Yeah. So I'm happy with that. Trying to think what I've done. The silicone bed, I want to actually take the camera off and hold the camera. So give me a second, because I can't show you that on the tripod, obviously. Make sure I don't hold the microphone. So the silicone bed, the silicone piece I put underneath is actually sunk. It's like sunk down a little bit. You can see. It's not bad, but if you put your finger underneath and touch it, it just feels warm. So it's done its job. And one other thing, that's all been directly soldered in. You can get the light there, it's working great. I am going to fill this full of hot glue, but watching it now, looking at it, it doesn't move at all. It only moves on this arc here, so it should be okay. There's the first print. Looks pretty good. Nothing much more I can say about that really. That's it really. I'm just seems to be working. I haven't changed the mister, so I'm just going to wait and see whether I get a full coat. It seems alright. It's going on and off. The lights are all working. The next thing might want to be a direct soldering to the motherboard. But if I just nip over to my bench, if I can see it, I just want to show you this plug. See the plug there? Burnt, charred, and that was on the negative side, but even on the positive it was getting a little bit discoloured. Yeah. So that was your problem. So what's happened is it's arced, caused corrosion, oxidization. It's disconnected the power for like a millionth of a second or whatever, split second, and then the fault codes come up, and it stopped the print halfway through. And I was printing this last night. I'll just bring this over just to show you. I'm putting the Raspberry Pi in, so if you keep tuned, I'm brand new to doing this, so I might need a bit of help, but I printed this out for the Raspberry Pi base, and that worked out great, no problem. And I wanted a two-tone colour to go with the white and the, so I printed the top cover off, and it stopped halfway through. Damn, it was going really good as well. It was a good, would have been a good print. Obviously it stopped halfway through, and it come with that code, and that's where it stopped, just there where it oozed a little bit. So, and I can't remember what it was. It was just I think it was a sensor problem, so that's all it was. So this is looking okay, and I'll get back to you with the next thing, which is going to be that Raspberry Pi job. And I'm going to do a review of this printer, because I've had it for 2 years now, and I've never done I've done a build. A month into it, I've done a review. But I'm going to come back to this and have a look what we've done, because I've got a few things coming up with the power supply mod. I've got that to change, and a few little things I've done, and I just want to talk about whether it's worth getting. Okay guys, I'll catch you in the next one.